let's learn some really important stuff about how to buy a camera, where, when, so on and so forth. Please remind me never to buy a discount bag of salad fixings that are made up of kale and chopped Brussels sprouts. Man, this is a bag of belly bombs. I felt like there was a civil war going on in my stomach. I mean, whoever decided to assemble this this collection of fresh rectum rockets, they should be fired. Man alive, I thought I was gonna die. Yeah, the hell with that. I'll never eat that again. Buying a camera. Big mistake. Stupid people mistakes. Let's use wisdom here on what to buy. Never buy a camera based upon specification sheets. It's like, oh, look at this new camera. It's got 10 billion rectilinear points of discombobulation. That give me a break. There are a lot of cameras out there that even people have been shooting for decades, like myself. They buy into the hype, and the Nikon D5 was a heavily hyped camera. And when you actually get into how it actually works, it's basically a loser camera. Not only that, it's insanely expensive, but even if it were the cost of the Nikon D500, I wouldn't have bought it. No, you can't judge a camera based upon specifications. One of YouTube's top photographers, what is his name, Ted Vieira? No, not Ted Vieira. That's the dude with the sexy voice that everybody loves listening to. Ted Forbes, I think that's it, was something called, his channel is called like The Art of Photography. Everybody was sending me a link to his video. And he made this video, and he loves the Sony stuff. Of course, Sony's not a camera company, they're a consumer electronics company. And he was talking about his A6300, about how it was overheating like crazy, which of course I knew it was doing that. And he basically went on to state that Sony doesn't really finish its products up properly. And he's right about that. He was basically stating that Sony products are designed to come out and last a few months, basically, and they're not designed or thought out well. And this is true. But man, those cameras, they have really, really amazing specification sheets. But when you actually get the camera, you will realize that it has ecosystem issues, and this is something else that nobody that buys a camera... You know, Fuji, for example, they've been making lenses for decades and decades and decades. They've been making lenses for longer than my poor old dead grandfather has been around in this world. And he isn't around anymore. I mean, you got to think of ecosystem. Now, the Fuji X lenses are not compatible with the early Fuji lenses, but they have the skills and they have the facilities, the infrastructure in place, and they're a camera company. So, no. Never buy a camera based upon specifications. That is mistake, stupidity number one. A lot of people do it, and it's why you can't judge a camera based upon specs. It's really, really stupid. Even people that I generally don't agree with, I'm not going to mention their name, they write books on photography, they do camera review guides, they'll basically tell you the same thing, they'll agree with me, they do agree with me. They've said exactly the same thing. You don't buy a camera based upon specifications. Point number two. Never buy a camera, how great the specifications are, even if they lives up to the hype, which is centered outside of your main shooting criteria. What the hell does that mean? Nikon, Canon, and other companies. Sony's not a camera company. They're a consumer electronics company that makes PlayStations and TV sets, so I can't include them in this. Nobody designs the perfect camera that is absolute best for wedding, portraiture, sports action. There is no such camera. There are some that are really, really good across the board, like a Nikon D4S, like the D3 used to be, and I've still got several Nikon D3s. So these are good for that, but they are not the best at that. The D4S, while it was decent for landscape, no, you don't want an optical low-pass filter, i.e. an anti-aliasing filter on a landscape camera. You don't want it. You don't want that for portraiture either. The Nikon D750, for example, I got rid of that camera, and I don't miss it one damn bit. I don't miss it. It had 3 recalls. It had an optical low-pass filter. It took, you know, good, decent shots. It was a decent landscape camera. It was a more than decent portrait camera, but the Nikon D810, I've got a couple D810s, I got D500s and tons of other Nikons. Like, you know, if you're a wedding and portrait photographer or landscape photographer, you'll buy the D810. You need to buy a camera that is centered around what it is you're best at shooting at. Nikon or anybody else is going to make, Canon is going to make a camera that is best for everything. They actually could do it, but then there'd just be one damn camera to buy. It's like, well, this camera is best at action, sports, wildlife, wedding, landscape, portrait. No. The Nikon D500, for example, Nikon D810 and the Nikon D500, between what each one of those does is perfect at everything between two of them. Between two cameras, the absolute best in the world for sports action, D810, best in the world for wedding, portraiture, landscape. Got bases covered. So buy the camera that is best suited your, because when people say, what's the best camera? What's your budget? What do you shoot mostly? Need to know that stuff. Don't buy into mirrorless hype. Now, this is something that's actually pissed me off because people don't even realize where the hell I'm coming from. They don't. I got tons of Fuji stuff now. Look, I used to fix cameras. I will just flat out, I don't care if you think I'm an egotistical a-hole, I'll flat out tell you that I'm an expert on cameras. And I bought the hell out of food. This thing is made in Japan. It's built like a brick outhouse. It's tougher than woodpecker lips. It's silk, sex, and sugar. It's the tits. It's awesome. It's second to none. It reminds me basically of a tiny little mirrorless D3 in the forethought that went into it, the design, the construction, the build quality. I don't buy into mirrorless hype. People say, well, you're a hypocrite. You used to make videos attacking mirrorless. And yeah, all the points that I said about mirrorless still stand. Mirrorless is not smaller. Big-ass prime lenses are as big as they ever were on mirrorless. Once you throw a speed light on this thing and carry around a few extra I don't own the hell out of Fuji stuff because I have like since changed my mind or someone has indoctrinated me into mirrorless hype. Mirrorless hype has nothing to do with photography. You know, it's what gets the job done best, what is designed the best. It's like, man, this camera is incredible. The ergonomics, the way it's laid out, the reliability, the forethought, the design, the engineering that went into this camera. I know cameras. You know, I care about what's underneath the hood. The ecosystem, the lenses, incredible. I know what in this. So there is no hypocrisy there. People just don't understand what the hell I've been saying the whole time. Buy the best camera. I bought into the Fuji X-T10 and X-T1, and I'll be one of the first bitches on the block with an X-T2. And I know that Fuji is not going to treat its customers like a beta tester. This camera is just incredible. I've got a few of them. I might get rid of one once I get my X-T2. No, I never sell anything to anybody, so don't ask me about that. There is no contradiction there. Mirrorless is not smaller. I don't buy into mirrorless hype. I never have and I never will. I bought this camera and tons of lenses to go with it. I've tested every Fuji lens and I own 17 Fuji lenses now. I bought into it because it's that damn good. Listen to me. I bought this because it is that damn good. It has nothing to do with mirrorless versus DSLR. I bought it because it is that damn good. So don't buy into mirrorless hype crap. It's the future, man. Like the aliens have landed, we've got new technology. It's mirrorless, baby. Screw that old DSLR crap with this little flappy mirror. You know, BS. I said BS a year ago about mirrorless hype about that, and I still say the same thing. I don't own this because it's the future. No, total BS. I own it because it's awesome. That's the reason you buy a camera. You buy the camera because it's awesome. At least you should be, if you're thinking intelligently and logically, which most people don't. It's the nature of humanity, right? The Fuji sells itself in design, build quality, and intelligent layout. You know? Actually, I can say without any shadow of a doubt, even though I own a mountain of Nikon stuff, including a super mountain of Nikon lenses, that Fuji is currently the best camera company on earth. I don't care about how much money they've got. I don't care about, you know, they don't have anywhere near as many lenses as Nikon does, which of course they don't, nor Canon. I base it on the fact that they don't turn their customers into beta testers, and their customer service is exquisite. That little thing right there that says made in Japan, this thing is basically like a miniaturized Nikon D3. D3 was the camera that set off the revolution. This is where people that were shooting film were like, oh shit, I'm jumping ship. The Nikon D3 was the camera that the old film dudes were like, oh man, I've used one for a couple days, I'm jumping ship, screw film. Digital baby, word. And that's kind of what the Fuji X-T1, at least from my position. Never buy a new camera near 2 hinge points. What the hell is a hinge point? April, May, where every company comes out with a new camera, or August, September. Because what happens is like you got a crowded room with all these cameras and you're doing the dance, and then the door opens up and a new fat chick enters, and then everything goes, wow, it shifts. And the stuff that you thought was awesome, it immediately went, whew, dropped in price. It's like, oh my god, I just bought this thing, now it's $600 cheaper. Or something else just came out that is a lot better, basically the same thing, but a lot better, for the same price that I paid for this thing a few months ago. Never buy a camera near a hinge point. Cool your jets, wait the hell off if it's around April, May, June, or August, September, because the camera companies are coming out with something new, and that means that even if you don't buy the new stuff, you know, it means whatever it is you're interested in buying is likely going to drop radically in price. And then when it comes out, all the morons will sell the awesome stuff used on eBay, and then you get a real deal. Which leads to another point. Let some other fool, eat camera depreciation. NCD, new camera depreciation. It's like, oh my god, I just bought this camera new, and they just come out with an XT2, and now it's went from $1,500 that I paid for it new, now it's only going for like new condition, basically as new condition, for half as much, $700 on eBay. Yeah, that's right. That means that you were a fool and you decided to eat the depreciation. In other words, as soon as you bought it and walked out the door with it, its value went from $1,500 to $700 or less. That isn't reference to Fuji, it's in reference to any damn camera. So don't be a person that eats appreciation. Here's point number 8 or 9 or whatever. If a camera is well established as being flaw-free, unlike the D750, which had several recalls, folks at Nikon, assholes, buy gray market new, but never used ones, okay? If it's established, it's well established as an awesome camera, buy gray market. And people are like, well, you can't get it fixed by Nikon or whoever if you buy gray market. Yeah, you can. Not by Nikon. It can be fixed by Nikon Asia, or it can be fixed by third-party Nikon authorized repair people. Always buy gray market lenses, for example. If it's an established decent if it's new lens and it's gray market, buy gray market. Always buy gray market lenses. Look at USA warranty is 99.99% a waste, a pisser of money. Now, all life is a gamble, but if you're gambling in Vegas, 99% odds that are in your favor is always something to gamble. It's like, you're 99% guaranteed when you roll the dice to win. And people would be gambling on that all the time, wouldn't they? Same thing with gray market cameras. You got less than a 1% chance something's going to go wrong with it, then you're going to have to seek out a Nikon Asia rep or a Nikon authorized service rep to fix it. But if you're you're throwing the dice at 99+%, buy gray market. New gray market. Never refurb, never used, new. Oh yeah, lastly, never buy Sigma stuff and never buy Sony stuff because they're both they're both junk. They are. Sorry. I had to throw that in there at the last. Lux и veritas. As the Russians would say, увидимся, товарищ. If you like this video, you can drop me a buck or two. Tell me to jump off a cliff, whatever makes you feel happy, whatever tickles your pickle. Thank you for watching.